All right, so I'm here with the esteemed Dr. David Servias. We are going to talk about this thing that happened on my YouTube channel. I posted a video. It was just a quick beginner piano tutorial. It was like, scare all your friends with this easy piano trick. And I played the first few notes of the Bach Toccata and Fugue in D minor. I'm going to show you like a really easy trick that's going to scare all your friends, like girls, boys, whatever. I'm going to start on this key right here, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the black key. Down means to the left. And then we're going to go back up, okay? That's the first thing. You're going to do that, back and forth. The next thing we're going to do is you're going to take these 4 white keys underneath this one, that's to the left, and then we're going to play them going down in that order. And once you got that, we're going to take this black key down here and we play that, and then we go back up to the white key. Up is to the right. So the whole thing is going to sound like this. And if you want it to be really scary, you're going to play it this way. See, I didn't realize that what I had done was I played one note. One note was a little bit different from what people were used to hearing. I got some pushback for that. So I wanted to just talk about that. I just want to kind of unpack that, unpack all the issues there, everything that might have caused all of these nerds to find themselves unable to control their behavior, and to find me in a position where I had to become the best version of myself. And I don't know what that is yet, but I'm still trying to figure it out. And that's great. It's great for me because this video has over 500,000 views now. It has over 25,000 likes, and it's just that number keeps going up.
I thought that was really interesting too. I actually thought that you played the wrong note also, just like everybody else. I was like, why is he playing a G sharp instead of a G natural? But I didn't. I was surprised at how people got their underwear in such a bunch over it. I mean, it's like it didn't seem like that big of a deal to me. And I don't even know if it's wrong. I just, it wasn't the note that I expected either. I was like, that's a different note.
Right.
So
yeah.
I don't know if you wanted me to settle the argument or what did you, why am I here?
Well, you're here because you, okay, so here's another aspect of this, is that I wrote a post, a comment, and I pinned it, but I wanted to kind of put my position out there, which is basically that I have a master's degree in piano, and I don't care what anyone else thinks because I'm right, okay? That's my position, and this is the position, because the fact is that this is just a quick beginner tutorial for people who don't know what a piano is. So, but you have a doctoral degree in piano, okay? And so I thought I would bring you on to because if they don't listen to me, and I understand, because with a master's degree, I mean, what does that mean? But as somebody who has reached the highest levels of academic achievement in the piano world, you should have some expertise here.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's funny because I do have a doctorate, and I learned a lot in my doctorate. I learned a lot about a lot of different things, but I don't consider myself a Bach like scholar or anything like that. But I think I don't think I kind of question the whole premise of the question in the first place, which is like, which way is the right way to do it? Like, I don't even know if that's a very interesting question, but people seem to think it's really interesting. But I don't know. Do you think that's very interesting?
Well, I don't. It could be an interesting question. It's not the question that's of interest to me right now. First of all, we're talking about a single note. Okay, yeah. If you want to play it differently, it's literally the next key right over. Okay, it's the easiest thing in the world to fix. So the accusations that were leveled against me, I made a list of them, and I'm not going to read all the comments. Okay, but I was called childish. I was called rude. I was called. They were telling me I was a fraud. Some people were saying, well, I don't have a master's degree. Clearly don't. Some people were saying, well, you clearly, if you do have a master's degree, then you are not a proper musician because of the way you're behaving. They were saying, all sorts of things. They were saying I'm two-faced because I'm being nice to some people and being rude to other people. And
is that what two-faced means?
I think that's what it means. Yeah.
So it's like, unless you're nice to everybody equally or mean to everybody equally, then you're two-faced.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing. Is because it was like, well, Michael, you could behave. You were responding appropriately. They use this word appropriately. Okay. You were responding appropriately to some commenters, but not to us. Yeah, well, no kidding, because you're nerds. And now when I use the word nerd, I don't, I consider myself a nerd,
Right.
like in the, Revenge of the Nerds kind of sense.
Right.
But there's two kinds of nerds. Okay.
Yeah. There's the good kind and there's the less good.
It's like the Chris Rock routine, which I'm not going to quote, I'm not going to go there.
I had the same thought, but I wasn't going to bring it up immediately. But I know what you mean. I know what you're getting at. There's some nerds that ruin it for the rest of the nerds.
Exactly. They ruin it for the rest of us.
Right.
I want to talk about what is the issue. Why? What? I want people to hear this from somebody else besides me. So, like, can you explain what it is that I played and like how it's written in the music? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. So you played. It's a famous piece. Everybody knows it. It's called it's the Toccata and Fugue in D minor. Everybody's heard the piece. Even if you're listening right now and you think, well, I've never heard that piece, I promise you've heard this piece at some point in your life. And it starts out with a note that has a little ornament on it, and an ornament is just like a little decoration. And typically, people play that decoration a certain way. They play it with basically going from an A down to a G natural and back up to an A. You played it from an A going to a G sharp and back up to an A. And I'll be honest, the first time when I first watched the video, I actually didn't even notice that you did that. It didn't even occur to me. It's like, oh, I just kind of watched it once. I was like, yeah, he's teaching people how to play the Toccata and Fugue. And then I saw some of the comments, or maybe you told me that people were all bent out of shape because you played a G sharp instead of a G natural. I think there's some reason why maybe it should be a G natural. And I told you what I thought. Well, I think it should be a G natural because he would have put a little accidental underneath the ornament.
Yeah. So wait, let's back up for a second. So
Sure.
It's an ornament. So it's like, it's a symbol that's written in there. It's not like you can just look at the music and see that Bach wrote a particular note, because there's a symbol that tells you that you can play it. It's up to your discretion what you want to play here. It's not written out. Exactly.
Well, and that's what I think too. So the nerds that you're talking about think that there is only one way to realize the ornament, and there's one way that I would say, what would you say, 99% of the people that play it do it a certain way.
Yeah,
and you might be in the 1% who does it this different way. But it's
I didn't even notice when I did it. I didn't notice that I was doing anything weird.
Yeah, it didn't jump out at me either.
It didn't jump out. Then when the comments started coming in, I was like, that's interesting. And then I get it now. It's what I did is different than the way everyone else does it. I understand that.
And when you and I were talking, we were DMing about it, and I told you I thought it was probably supposed to be a G natural, but I didn't really care. And you actually, I bet the people that in your comments don't realize this, but you sent me several passages from some of the well-known, there are these treatises people wrote around that time that's like, explain how you're supposed to do ornaments. And you sent me your justifications for like why it's actually optional whether you play, what note you play.
Exactly.
And I mean, you had done your homework.
Let me show, I want to show this on the screen here for anybody who's watching the video. See, this right here, I don't know where I'm looking. See, this right here. See, this is called a mordant. This symbol here, and it's you can't really see it because the camera isn't focusing, maybe. But it's a symbol that it's a little squiggle thing, and it has a line through it, and you put that over the note, and it tells you to play the note, and then you play a note below it, and then you play the note again. And this right here, what I'm showing is this is an edition of Bach Well-Tempered Clavier, which is one of his master works. And it has at the beginning of the book, it has this explanation of how you play all these symbols, because there's a million of these symbols, these ornaments, because they were very common in the music of that time, because they didn't write out all the notes.
Yeah, and there are lots of things where it's written out like, here's how you realize the ornaments, and Bach even wrote one himself. But I think when you when you go through all, because I went through a period of time, a phase where I was like reading all of that stuff and trying to figure out like, let's get to the bottom of this, because I knew that there were like not about this piece in particular, but just about how are you supposed to play Baroque music. And there's so many disagreements. It kind of reminded me of like, you know, like a religion, you know, like Christianity. There's like 50,000 different flavors of Christianity, and they're all saying, well, this is how we interpret the text, and this is how we interpret the text. And I don't think a lot of the details matter that much. Of course, people are going to say that they do, but I'll fight those people. I'm not afraid. Well,
let's fight them, because they deserve to be fought. You know, I don't know if they deserve, but the issue deserves to be defended. So in this book here, so there's a quote here from Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach, who is the son of Johann Sebastian Bach. Okay, and
I like how you're really leaning into the
that's what you have to say, because otherwise you're just going to sound like you don't know what you're talking about. So he says the brilliance of a mordant is often enhanced by raising its lower note 1/2 step. He writes that. Okay, so this is you know, this is an authority. Now, I'm not going to look. I am not a scholar in this. Okay, I'm not an expert on this. I don't know anything. I only know what I read right here, and I know that at the end of the day, none of this matters. But
well, that's the larger thing. Is does this like, because here's my thing is like, suppose that Bach rose from the dead, and he was here and on this podcast right now, and we could ask him once and for all, how did you intend for this ornament to be played? Did you intend a G sharp or a G natural? And let's say that he said a G natural. My question is, does that mean I have to play a G natural? I mean, because we kind of like, I think that's the assumption that everyone. I mean, a lot of people are just taking for granted. It's like we have to do what the composer intended, and this is probably like, you know. I don't necessarily think that we have to do what the composer intended, but I also think the other thing I think Bach would say if he was here would be like, I don't care about that. That's not really very important. You don't even have to play. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what he would say. Like, how would you even know? We can't talk to him. But you know, if that happened hypothetically, Bach came back from the dead and said,
oh, "Wait, here he is.
Here he is. Here he is."
That would be neat.
You have to play a G natural. That's what I wrote. That was the intention. Then I would say, oh, okay, great. I'll play a G natural. You know, why not? I mean, you know, this is not. I'm not just doing this to be difficult. This is.
But would you have to do that? That's what I'm saying.
Would you have to do that? I mean, it's. You know, I was trying to think of an analogy to this, because the thing is that we're talking about a note. Like, I've played thousands of ornaments in pieces from this period of time. Okay, I've never seen any controversy about a single one of them. It seems to me that the only reason there's an issue here is because we're talking about something that is in one of the most famous classical pieces ever written. Okay, this is something that everybody knows. Everyone's heard it before.
Yeah.
If this were buried in the middle somewhere, because it's right at the beginning, it's like, it's just, it's right there.
In fact, probably some people, maybe this is the only little part that they've ever heard of that.
Probably.
Of that piece, yeah.
So, you know, everyone knows this. Your grandmother knows it. Your great-grandmother knew it.
Yep.
And I don't know.
Grandfather knows it.
Let's talk about the history of it, because I looked into that for a second, because there were so many people insisting, Michael, you just, you know, this has been played this way for the past 300 years. It was written 300 years ago. Okay, it's pretty old, and they're going to say, well, it's been played this way every day since then. It's been played. You know, everybody plays it this way. You just look at the manuscript, and you'll see it right there. Look at any of the scholarly editions, the Urtext editions.
Can you make their voice sound a little dumber when you say what they're saying?
Just look at the manuscript, and you see it right there.
Yeah,
this is not true. It's not true that you're going to see it, because here's the thing: this piece was written, but we don't know who wrote it. Okay, it seems maybe it was Bach who wrote it. There's also seems to be some argument about that. Some controversy around that, but let's just assume he wrote it. Okay, it was written sometime in the early 1700s. Before 1750. Could not have been written after 1750 because that's when he died. Right. So the question is, like, what did he write? We don't know what he wrote because we don't have a manuscript in Bach's handwriting. It doesn't exist. There was one at one point, but it doesn't seem to have survived the ravages of time. So what we do have is we have a manuscript written by this guy, Johannes Rink. I'd never heard of this guy before this whole episode.
Rick is his last name?
Rink. Ringk.
Rink.
I think I'm correct about this. You may want to double check it. I only have a master's degree, so I don't know.
Well, I have a doctorate.
You have a doctorate.
That sounds right to me. I have no idea.
So he's the one. So if you go on Google Images and you search for the manuscript for the Toccata and Fugue, you may see an image of that. Okay.
Okay.
In that manuscript, we see the mordent symbol. That's the squiggly thing with a slash through it. Mm-hmm. There's no indication whether it's a G natural or whether it's a G sharp. No indication.
And so what I always heard was if there's no indication, then you go to the diatonic note, which would be the G natural. Right.
That is generally the rule that you would follow. So meaning that if because we're in the key of D minor, so you would play a note that's from the D minor scale, which would be the G. That's the white key. I played a black key, and that would be the G sharp, which is not. So that's what diatonic means. And I'm just explaining this for anybody who doesn't know all the terminology here.
Sorry, I have a doctorate, so it's just
right. So words like that. You use these words. You're in your ivory tower. You don't. Yeah. You have trouble. I get it.
I'll try to dumb it down for your audience,
for the master's level audience here. Yeah. So you said by default it's played diatonically, meaning that by default you play the white key. You play the note that's in the scale. Okay, sure, but if you look at what Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach said, you often enhance the brilliance by raising the note, meaning you change it from the white to the black.
So if not that note, then what note would you want to enhance? But that first note in the phrase, that's the note that grabs the audience's attention. So of course, let's enhance that note. Otherwise, why would you ever enhance any note if not that note? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
No, I don't understand.
What I'm trying to say is you chose a perfect note to enhance by altering.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Right. Because it's the beginning note. It's like the announcement, It's like when you're standing up in the middle of the town square and you're like, "Hey everyone, look over here." That's what you want to make. You want to draw as much attention to that as possible.
Right.
Yeah. Why not? By playing a G sharp.
Why not?
Yeah. You could justify it that way.
And again, I'm not a scholar. Don't quote me on any of this. In fact, I'm here just to muddy the waters. That's the whole point of my existence.
I see.
So this was written, we have the manuscript from, I think, 1730. Okay. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then, but see, the thing is that this piece was forgotten for 100 years. Nobody knew. So it's not like it's been played every day since 1730.
Right.
Nobody played it for 100 years.
People weren't that interested in Bach after he died.
Bach was old-fashioned.
He was an old fart. That's what I remember hearing that. They were like, listen to the stuff his sons are doing, because that's where he was just an old fuddy-duddy.
Yeah.
So no, it hasn't been played every day for 300 years.
Nope.
No,
simply hasn't been. And in the 1800s, there was this resurgence of interest in Bach. I don't know why. I don't care why. It just happened. Maybe you can explain that at the doctoral level.
I think this had something to do with Mendelssohn. I think he revived that piece, which I'm forgetting the name of, but it's really famous. It's the I forgot. But there's some piece that he revived, and it kind of brought attention back to Bach. I'll remember the piece and then I'll be annoyed. But somebody probably knows. They can let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know. In fact, don't just I don't want to hear it just from one of you. Like I want I want 1,000 comments that all say the same thing.
Like, what piece is Dr. Dave trying to remember?
Dave, right.
Yeah. And does he really have a doctorate? So, but for 100 years after he was dead, nobody really cared about Bach. That's the story I remember hearing somewhere. I think I heard it as an undergraduate, to tell you the truth. So.
It's part of the mythology of classical music. It's like Jesus going off into the wilderness for a couple years. Like, it's just he just vanished and then came back like super strong.
Bach did do something like that, though. He didn't go to the desert, but he walked like 200 miles.
Yeah, he did. He walked.
To see Buxtehude perform and take some lessons from him or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
It's a lot like Jesus.
Something like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I don't know how far Jesus walked in the desert, but it might have been similar. Well, and he was, I think he was gone for like 3 months, Bach. So that's actually longer than Jesus.
But I think Jesus was gone for a couple years. I think he disappeared.
Oh, I thought it was like 40 days or something.
That may have happened also, but I think there's some gap in the timeline where there's just no mention of him. And so people are wondering
that's when
where
he was in college.
Something like that. I heard some story. Maybe he went to India. Maybe he became a Buddhist. I don't know.
Oh.
That might not be true, but it's like it has a certain appeal to it because, Buddhism and all.
Yeah, they didn't mention that I went to Sunday school class. And
they're not going to say that in Sunday school.
No, that's not going to be a Sunday school kind of thing.
It's not approved. So Toccata and Fugue disappeared. 100 years later, then, people start playing it again. At that time, it was not super famous. It was just another organ piece that Bach had written. Now, okay, this is written for organ. Let's also clarify that this is not written for piano. This is written for the pipe organ, which is that was Bach's main instrument. He was a master of the organ. He wrote a ton of organ music, and this is one of them. This was not a particularly famous one in the 1800s. It didn't become famous until Disney's Fantasia in 1940.
That's interesting. I'm glad you looked that up because I was kind of wondering about that. I'm sure that wasn't famous. That hasn't always been famous.
No.
I mean, that's how a lot of these pieces get famous, is that they're used somewhere in a cartoon or something. They make their way into the popular culture, and then people think, oh, this has been around. This has been a famous piece forever. But
exactly, it's been a famous piece for 80 something years, 82 years, 80. I don't know.
Yeah. It was since after my grandma was born.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Your great grandma maybe didn't even know it. I don't know.
So she wasn't so great after all, I guess.
There you go. Haters, answer that one.
Yeah. If she was so great, how come she didn't even know Bach's Toccata and Fugue in D minor?
Doesn't add up.
Yeah.
And so, see, this is the thing, is that you have something that is like it's in such an iconic movie, such an iconic scene. I don't remember the scene. Do you remember the scene?
I mean, I never even saw the whole thing. It's
okay, you didn't see it.
I saw some. My daughter watches it sometimes, and I think, but I haven't. I can't place it now.
But some of you can place it, and let
us know in the comments.
Let us know in the comments exactly what scene it is. I expect to see 500 versions of that, and there are. Now everybody knows it because it is in the popular culture. It was in a cartoon, in a Disney movie. Everybody knows it now. And so this is the way you have to play it. You have to play it the way everyone's heard it. All of these arguments that they're giving. Let me look at the list here again. The arguments basically being the arguments for why Michael Corman is a bad guy are number one, because he's wrong. Number two, because he won't admit he's wrong. Number three, because he's rude. Number four, because he sucks at YouTube. He doesn't know how to get views and stuff. And where was I going with this?
Reasons that Michael's a bad person.
Why did I say that? Why did I say reasons why Michael's a bad person?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe you just wanted to just let us know.
It was, but no, I don't know. So Fantasia, everybody knows. Oh, right. Here's the thing.
Okay.
This is the issue. They come up with all these scholarly arguments for why I'm wrong. They come up with all these arguments for why it doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong. I'm just a bad person. They come up. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. Doesn't matter if you're a good person or not. But you're failing at YouTube. You're going to drive everybody away by doing this. Okay, but at the end of the day, I think the issue is that just what I'm doing, they're not comfortable with it. It's not what they're used to. It's not what they saw on the movie screen. It's not. And at the end of the day, I ruined Halloween. That's what has happened here.
Yeah, that's right. Because now when people hear that for Halloween, all they're going to think about is, oh, that jerk Michael played this differently.
Played it differently.
I heard. And that's going to ruin all of their Halloween memories and their Christmas memories.
I know.
Yeah.
Now, I understand, memories are important. Like these, traditions are important. There's something to that. There's a reason we have holidays. We have Halloween. We have Christmas. It's almost Christmas time. There's a reason for this. We do these things. It gives us some coherence to our culture. But at the end of the day, I mean, I can't survive in that kind of environment where, you one tiniest deviation away from the norm and suddenly there's a witch hunt. That's not the way I prefer to do things. I want to read, unless you wanted to say something. It looked like you were going to.
No, you're doing great.
I wanted to read the post, the comment that I wrote. I wrote this long comment. I just want to read it here. Okay.
Do you want me to interject ever, or should I?
You can. If you hear anything interesting, then please interject.
Okay.
Or you can wait to the end. Either way. So I put this pinned comment here. It says, "Read this before correcting me." Dear music theory nerds, yes, I know it's traditionally played AGA, white, white, white. Those are the three white keys at the beginning. But I can't find any scholarly argument for why that's the only right way, and the burden of proof is on you to show I'm wrong. You also have the burden of convincing me the argument is worth having. So far, you're doing a piss poor job of that. You guys all play the chord progression D minor, A7, D minor. I have no problem with that. I, however, am playing A7, D minor. I have no problem with that either. I have a master's degree in piano, which means I know more than almost all of you. A few other points I want to make. Point. Everyone who insists the G is unambiguously written as a natural white key is lying. Point. There is no surviving manuscript of this piece in J.S. Bach's handwriting, so we don't even know what he wrote. Point. CPE Bach said it's cool to play mordents non-diatonically. That's with the black key, and he's the son of God.
CPE is?
Do I think he is?
Yeah.
If we say that Bach is God, then CPE Bach would be the son of God. I'll play that game, sure.
Okay.
Next point. The oldest manuscript we have, written out by Johannes Rink, not Bach, doesn't have a natural sign and is thus ambiguous. So I'm trying to make the point here that these people are lying. These people are being deceptive. Well, they're being dishonest.
I don't think they're lying, though. I think they're...
No, they're lying. They're lying because several of them said, I checked the manuscript. I checked the Urtext edition. That's an edition that is...
No, I think they're only lying. I don't think they realize they're lying. I think they think what I thought, actually, it was that if it doesn't have the accidental, then you're supposed to play the next diatonic. Yeah,
okay. You can give them the benefit of the doubt if you want. I think they're lying. I've heard this enough times. I think they're just saying it.
You think they know the thing that CPE wrote and they're willfully ignoring it? Yeah.
No, I think that they are. I think that what they're doing is just going along with the flow. I think
that's not lying. That's not lying, though.
No, but they're saying
something that's not true. Right. But that's not the same as lying, is it? Like, I think lying is like, I know this is true. I know that it says this, but I'm just going to say it doesn't say this. But I think they just don't. They haven't done as much homework as you because you have a master's degree.
Okay. But when they say, I don't know. I think they're, look, they're lying. That's how I see it. Okay.
Okay, I'm convinced.
Like, what am I supposed to say? They have callous disregard for the truth.
Yeah. Well, I think they might be lying also to themselves by thinking that they're justified based on like some facts or something, truth.
They think they're justified because some other expert said something.
Yeah.
They don't like me, so they've already determined that I'm a bad guy. Okay. Mm-hmm. They've already determined I'm a criminal, and now they're looking for a crime.
But I think that if you ask them, I think they would believe that they're following the evidence. I think that's what they probably believe. But I don't, because I think they're not aware of the fact that they just hate your guts and think you're disgusting.
Yeah.
And so they want to just put you in your place.
It's like,
they're influenced by that.
It's like this evolution versus creationism kind of thing. Like do I believe in evolution? Yeah, sure. Am I going to say that you're wrong if you're a creationist? At this point, no, I'm not going to say that, because the fact is I'm not an expert on this. Like, I'll trust the people I consider to be experts, but I'm not going to fight in that way, because I don't know enough to say that. I mean, what do I know?
You haven't examined the fossil record, probably. You haven't yeah. I mean, who's got time for that?
Not me.
Yeah. Well, but that's the exact position of those people who are saying it should be a G sharp. They're like, the reason I think it should be, or a G natural, they're saying the reason I think that's because I trust the experts.
Right.
And then you say, well, I am the experts. I have a master's degree. And then they're all confused.
Yeah.
And they have to say, you must not really have a master's degree. That's impossible.
Right. Or even if you do have one, then it should be revoked.
Right.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Because you don't like me.
Yeah. They don't. That's the thing, is their whole opinion is clouded, but they think they're basing it on reason and facts and stuff like that, and they're just basing it on a visceral distaste for you as a human being.
And that's what I would say about the creationists. Like, I don't like them. Okay, yeah. and that's why I disagree with them. I'm not gonna pretend that it's because I have all this scientific knowledge. It's like I don't have that knowledge.
Yeah.
I don't like them. Sure.
I don't like those people. And so if they say it, you're probably going to be inclined to not believe it because you don't like them.
Yeah.
Has there ever been an instance where somebody that you didn't like, thought was disgusting, said something and you had to be like, well, that's a good point?
I mean, people I don't like have certainly said things that I thought were true. The thing is that I'm usually, the thing that drives me nuts about this is that they're claiming that they're better at me than the game that I'm better at. And I'm not the one who's wrong in these kinds of arguments ever, because I care more about accuracy than other people do. So I'm not going to say something unless I either know it's true or unless I'm doing it for some other reason than truth.
Right. To for example, to ruin the entire tradition of piano playing.
I'll lie for that purpose, because that's a higher purpose than truth for me. Yeah.
Yeah. To take down the establishment.
To be the Grinch who stole Halloween.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, let me continue reading my points here, because the next one is kind of relevant here. So let me just give the backstory on this one. So one person said, well, here's a list, and he gave a list of arguments, a list of reasons, it wasn't an ad hominem attack. It wasn't a emotional attack. It was he was giving an argument, looking at the piece itself, saying this is what Bach must have meant, because here's what, this thing here is similar to this part, and it was very logical and very seemingly well reasoned. Mm-hmm. And one thing that he said was that there was a trill in the fugue. So the piece is like there's a toccata and there's a fugue. Okay, there's two parts to this, and the note that we're talking about here is at the very beginning of the toccata, but later on in the fugue there's a trill, which is another kind of ornament, and what he was saying was that the trill was written with a flat sign, and that was proof that Bach could have written he could have disambiguated if he wanted to, because he did it later on in the same piece. See, at first, for several days, I was like, oh, okay, well, that's, sure, maybe there's some, I'm not going to I don't want to engage with any of that, but maybe, he might be right about that.
Right. As much
but then
as
then I looked at the music, and it's like there's not even a flat sign there. So what I wrote here, it says, contrary to what one commenter said, the trill later on in the piece doesn't have a flat sign. This was presented as proof Bach would have written a sharp sign if he'd wanted one. Nice try, though. Bet you didn't think I'd check.
Oh wait, so you checked the manuscript or the not the manuscript?
I checked both the manuscript, the one not in Bach's handwriting, okay,
right?
But the oldest one that we have, there's no flat sign there. I checked the oldest editions, published editions that are on the internet. There's no flat sign there. Okay, Bach, as far as we know, did not write any of these signs.
So where did he get that idea?
I don't know. He made it up. That's what I'm saying. They're just making stuff up. It's a lie. I don't know. I don't know why they do it. I don't know. But they don't seem to care about truth. And meanwhile, I care about truth. So this is like every time they say something like this, it creates a whole bunch of work for me.
Right. That's interesting, though. Actually, I think you sent me that passage, and I didn't know, but I don't think I had the context. So I didn't really know what you're talking about.
That's the context. He was showing that. I'll try to, if I remember, I don't know. Maybe I can put these on the video. I can put screenshots on the video of these examples here.
Yeah. So he invalidated his own point. Because,
I guess not that anybody cares. They're just going to because I'm sitting there. At first it's like, well, how do I respond to all of this? At first, I don't remember the whole progression of how I responded to these things. So I've been experimenting with different things. Okay. And one thing I was doing a lot of your mom jokes. Somebody would say,
I enjoyed that. I thought those were funny. I like your mom
best, jokes. Right?
There's no response to them. And that's why they're funny. They're conversation stoppers.
Let me read the rest of this. And then I want to talk about the mom jokes.
Okay.
Okay, next point, I don't care how it was played in Disney's Fantasia. Next point, I don't care how your grandfather played it. Next point, I'm American and this is how we roll. Next point, you can all suck it. Any new comments on this topic will be deleted unless you have something truly new and interesting to offer, which would shock me. If anyone wants to disagree with me, please don't do it on my video. Instead, what you should do is make your own response video. P.S. To anyone who just wanted to learn a cute piano riff, I apologize for the disruption these nerds are causing. I want to talk about a few of those things in there because I want to talk about, let me just make a list here so I don't forget these things. One was the mom jokes, okay?
Mom jokes.
I want to talk about being American. I want to talk about deleting comments.
Okay. I
want to talk about response videos. Those are 4 things. Okay.
Can we at some point talk about what's on your whiteboard also behind your head?
Oh no, I don't want anybody to see that.
Oh, you
don't know what's on the whiteboard.
Oh, okay. All right.
There's random thoughts on there.
Okay. Okay.
I hope there's nothing incriminating there.
I can't read it, so that's why I was curious, but we don't have to talk about that if you don't want to.
Maybe we could. There's some like electrical engineering equations up there.
Oh, that might add credibility.
There's Ohm's law up there.
Yeah.
There's definition of work and power and stuff like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would add credibility.
Sometimes I just they're gonna say
you don't have an engineering
it all
degree.
gets used against me.
Right.
That's the thing. You got to be careful what you put out there, because I say, it's like, you think that saying you have a master's degree in music would add to your credibility. It doesn't. It just gives them more ammunition.
Yeah. Well, you must have got it from a crappy school and
a crappy school. You must be lying about it. That's proof of how arrogant you are. That's, it shows how real musicians don't need a degree, it shows how insecure you are. I mean, it's just, the list goes on and on. Everything you say gets used. It gets taken out of context.
Yeah.
Mom jokes. Okay, so here's the thing. I said, because it's like you come up with. I'm trying on Instagram. I posted a bunch of this stuff. Somebody wrote this long comment. Dear offended content creator, as I see that you're not just ignoring the good advice of the people. That's the thing. They use this. They call themselves the people. They use the word we. See, when I talk, I use the word I. They use the word we.
I hate that. Can I just say, when somebody does that, I hate that because I did not like I watch your videos too, but I did not elect this person to speak for all of us. And why does this person say that he's going to speak for everybody who is in your audience?
I can only assume that it's an insecurity that they have, and they're trying to just assert their will on reality by saying.
I bet you he did this also in middle school when he bullied other kids.
Probably, I'm sure.
He probably said
that's where he learned it.
Come on, guys.
Probably his parents did it. That's probably why he does it.
That's true.
So a whole bunch of this. So this comment goes on for like 3 pages. I'll tell you, I not only checked the Urtext edition, the Urtext version of the piece that Bach wrote. It's a scholarly edition, or it's like an edition that is. It's not one edition, okay? It's a description of a type of edition.
Right.
See, this music is written so long ago that you can't just. It's not like you just go to Bach's publisher and like. Things that are published today, like they're just come from one publisher, because this stuff was written so long ago. There's so many different editions of it by different publishers.
There used to be a thing where where the editors would add all kinds of things that they felt were missing from the score. They would add like, here's the dynamics you should use, and here's the articulation you should use, and all this stuff.
Right.
But they just made stuff up based on their musical sensibilities.
So it's like dynamics, articulation. It's like these are things that Bach did not write. So like it means like dynamics is like, do you play loud? Do you play soft? Like, do you get louder here or softer there? Things like, do you play it like smoothly? Do you play it? It's just like how there's different symbols that they have in music that tell you how to do these things, and it's not all spelled out. It's like the way when I'm speaking, it's like I can talk fast, I can talk slow, I can talk loud, soft. That stuff's not written. It's like, an actor getting a script. It's not always written, everything.
And like later on, I think composers would write more stuff like that in their music. But I think people are assuming that Bach was such a stickler for like something like how I should play this ornament, but he must not have been, because he didn't write not just the ornament, but just like he didn't write any dynamics, I don't think, or just a few. I mean,
very few, yeah.
And he didn't write anything like this should be slurred and this should be staccato or anything like that. Oh, there goes
your set is falling apart.
Oh, that's right. It's a cheap set. Actually, my wife made this like reproduction. I should give her a little shout out.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, she did a little recreation of this.
That's cool.
She's into that kind of stuff. So that's Lauren. You can follow her. No, I don't think she makes videos. So you can't follow her.
I didn't realize she was such an accomplished painter.
Yeah, she does a lot of things. She plays the piano. She has a master's degree also.
Well.
Yeah.
Do we want to know what her opinion is on this? Did you talk to her about this?
I don't think I've ever talked to her about this. I don't think I've ever asked her, but this is not something that has come up. Can you believe that?
I thought it was more important than that. I thought this is what everyone was talking about.
I know.
I'm still waiting for Elon Musk to tweet about this. But.
I'm sure he has an opinion.
Anyway. So I don't know where we were. Mom jokes. So I was right. So okay. So this guy. Okay. Blah blah blah. He's saying you're contradicting yourself. Right. So he looked right. See, he's saying another lie. I don't know if it's a lie. Look, I understand. People might be wrong. They might be whatever. But he said he compared it with other editions. Took a look at the manuscript to verify. Come on.
Did he say the manuscript?
Yes, he uses the manuscript. He says
there is
the
no
Urtext.
manuscript, right?
There's no manuscript, and Urtext is not one edition. Like, but the point is, I was defining what Urtext is. It's just like it's an edition where, because you were saying that they started adding stuff.
Right. So then later on, people started wanting to know what does the original text say. So editors would create these editions that they would call it Urtext, which is like, we've only put things that the composer actually wrote here. So you could rely, we didn't put any of our own opinions. You don't have to worry. If you want to know exactly what Bach wrote, here's what Bach wrote. That's what Urtext means. Doesn't mean that there aren't any errors in it,
So it's like going back to the original Word of God to see what what was handed down.
Right.
What did Moses actually receive? What did Jesus actually say to the disciples? You want to know.
I want to know the exact words.
The exact words.
Yeah.
And so he's going on and on and on. Okay. It's characteristic of an arrogant person to base his opinion merely in his degree, since there are masters far more experienced than you, meaning me, far more experienced, that are still studying Bach's writing because they weren't alive in his time to ask him. You neither, meaning me. Mm-hmm. That's funny because I thought I was alive during Bach's time. It is profoundly disrespectful and unprofessional. Okay, I'm not going to give this guy so much airtime, which is what I'm doing. But he says you cannot. This is funny too. He says you cannot play something different just because it fits your taste. Even Glenn Gould, one of the greatest Bach interpreters in the past era, had a lot of criticism for the same reason by other elite musicians like Seymour Bernstein. Okay, this is funny because I studied with Seymour Bernstein personally. And
you studied with Seymour Bernstein?
Yes.
Oh, isn't he like famous?
He's famous. There's even a movie about him by Ethan Hawke.
Wow. I guess we should listen to what you have to say.
Well, I don't know. But he's quoting one of my teachers to say, who criticized Glenn Gould because Seymour says that Glenn Gould, when he hears Glenn Gould playing Bach, he doesn't hear Bach. He hears Glenn Gould. Yeah. Fair enough. Whatever. It's an opinion. Mm-hmm.
So my question about that is that bad? I mean, why is that inherently bad? What if we?
Why is it bad to sound like Glenn Gould? Right, yeah. But it's an opinion. It's a value judgment. Maybe you don't want to hear Glenn Gould. Maybe you want to hear Bach. Yeah. Okay. I mean, maybe you don't like Glenn Gould. You don't like his personality. He was a weirdo. He used to hum when all his recordings. You can hear his humming through the whole thing.
That's right. And he sat really low, and that's that we can't have that.
He had a chair.
Yeah.
Like most pianists will sit on a bench. He had this chair that he carried around with him everywhere, and he sat. Every time he played, every time he recorded, he stopped playing. Like he stopped performing in public when he was like 21, I think, something like that. But he kept recording, and he would always sit in the same chair, which is very, very low. I don't know. Like he's idiosyncratic. He's a weirdo.
I think I heard he was probably autistic.
Yeah, probably.
And because I remember reading or somebody telling me he would show up like all bundled up sometimes to the recording sessions in the middle of the summer,
right?
Earmuffs and stuff like that. Earmuffs. That's one thing that makes me wonder. Like maybe it was something like autism because like certain sounds might freak him out or something. So anyway, he was a weirdo.
Yeah.
I mean, so some people, like you said, they probably. That's how they perceived him, as a weirdo. That's why I say it in quotes, kind of. And so they maybe didn't like him, but other people love him. So I don't know.
Yeah, he's famous. He's, you might not like him, but come on. There aren't very many classical musicians that were as successful as he was.
I think he was a little bit of a troll because. Did you? This is a very slight tangent, but did you ever hear him play the Mozart sonatas?
Oh yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's the C major one that's really famous. Like he makes the left hand Alberti bass louder than the melody, and I love him. I think he's being funny. I think he's making fun of the music.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he does. I relate to it because I do that stuff when I play, and what. When I play online, I do stuff like that, because I get to make the rules, and part of it is trolling, and part of it is it's just trying to find something new, just I want to hear something new. I don't want to hear this. I don't want why play it? There's a million people who can play this the traditional way better than I can play it. So why do I want to play it the traditional way? I want to find something new and interesting in there.
Yeah. Why not look at it from a different angle or zoom in on a different part
So then he says, I saw that you're too sensitive with the hate by reading all your replies to comments correcting you. Please, if you want to answer this comment, think and search before you do a stupid thing. I did my research at my music school. Now it's time to do yours, Mr. Master's degree. And my reply to this was, now it's time to do your mom, Mr. Mom.
I mean, that's funny. That's good to use the word do, because then you got to say do your mom.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what mom jokes are for.
That's what I think. It's like, see, the thing is that people will say, well, Michael, you're insulting everyone's mothers. Like, this is proof that you're an immature child and that you don't deserve to have an audience, and you deserve to be deplatformed, and you deserve to have your master's degree revoked, and you should go to your room and think about what you've done. And I don't, to me, first of all, a mom joke is not an insult. Like, it's like if I said, your mama's so fat, like that kind of thing, maybe it's an insult. I don't know. But
I don't. Do you take it as an insult if somebody insults your mama? Like, I don't even think they're really talking about my mom.
Yeah, I don't think
it's too much like an intentional. It's not. I'm not insulted at all. Maybe I should be if I was a better son.
If it were a real insult, that would be one thing. But like what I'm doing here is not an insult. I don't even consider it to be even a. This is simply a statement that says, I'm not interested in arguing with you.
Right.
End of discussion. Like, that's what it means.
Yeah, because you don't know that guy's mom.
I don't know. How would I know?
Yeah.
I'm not, I don't know anything about this guy's mom.
Yeah. So you're obviously not insulting his mom.
But see,
personally.
they seize that, and it's like, you're insulting everyone's mothers. Who knows where this is going to go? So I, at some point, was like, you know what? I'm going to actually back off with the mom jokes, because I don't know. Like, I don't know. These people don't have any. They have no compassion. They have no regard for human well-being. So who knows what they're going to try to use against me? Just
one time I was arguing with somebody on the internet about something, probably something like similar to this, but it wasn't music related. But then they started saying naughty words to me, like calling me names or something. And then I wrote, "Do you kiss your mother with that mouth?" Because that's something that people say when you use naughty language.
Yeah.
And the person was like, "Don't you dare talk about my mom. My mom is a saint," or whatever. They got really insulted. They thought that I was like insulting their mother. So
do you think they were really offended, or do you think they just seized the moment, seized the opportunity?
That's what I probably think. They probably just thought, this is something that I can get offended about. It's like where I was telling you the other day. I think I was like, somebody said something about, they used the word retard, and and I was like, because I have a daughter with autism, and I said, I feel like I should be offended about that, or I feel like maybe I could choose to get offended by that. That's what they're doing. They're like saying, like they're just choosing to get offended about that just because they want to take you down. Just choosing.
It's just low hanging fruit.
Yeah. But they know that it's not about their actual mom, and yeah.
So somebody was like, well, why teach if you can barely play it yourself? And I said, I barely played your mom. And he's like, LOL, can't take criticism, so immediately turns to 7th grade insults. Must have felt real good after that. And so at that point, I'm like, okay. See, most of the time when I did a mom joke, then they back off. Okay. But especially when they see that there's I'm doing it to multiple haters, then they kind of gang up. And then they go to the level of criticizing my maturity. And
go ahead. Go for it.
No, but then I was like, I'll have to take this to the next level. And my reply was, nope, can't take criticism. In fact, this entire channel is nothing more than a temple to my fragility. I routinely delete comments that offend me so I can surround myself with yes men who dote on my every word. I'm an attention whore, and I have attachment issues from my childhood. I also have a hard time making friends, which shouldn't surprise anyone because of how insecure, rude, and aggressive I can be. Thanks for noticing.
So you double down. You like agree
double
with them.
Down.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what my dad told me to do. If you're worried that somebody's going to make fun of you about something, is that you should make fun of yourself first, or say the thing about yourself, or just agree with them, and then it takes the wind out of their sails. But did it work? I mean, did that make them stop when you did that?
That particular one, I don't think I got a reply to that comment.
Okay.
So I'm trying different methods here, and I don't quite know what the objective is, because sometimes, it's like, do I want to get them to stop? Do I want to get them to keep going? Because the thing is that when they keep going, there's more comments, there's more views, and ultimately that translates to more money for me.
What do you all think that Michael should do? Like, why don't you leave in the comments? Like, how should Michael respond?
Do you think Michael should continue trying to spread the word, his message, or do you think that Michael should go into therapy and reevaluate his actions,
or both,
and maybe or both, maybe. Yeah.
Your latest approach seems to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I had no idea that I was supposed to play a G natural. That's I've seen you. I've been
doing that. I've been like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I didn't think of it that way. Oh, I'm trying my best. I'll try harder next time.
Yeah.
So I try different things. I'm trying to think of ways that I am reluctant to try, so that I can explore those, because I want all the tools at my disposal.
What would be the most, what would be something that you haven't tried yet? Because you've tried.
I've tried arguing,
right,
intellectually. I've tried something else I've done is like, stop picking on the weird kid, you bully, you're a horrible person.
Right.
So I tried, I don't know what you call that. Like, I've, tried whining about it. I've tried, apologizing. I've tried just admitting that I'm a horrible person. Right. I've tried
your mom jokes.
I don't know what I haven't tried yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
I've reported them. I've reported one of them to YouTube for bullying, because he said, you've been reported. Good luck. And because he was saying, well, you're a bully. There are kids who watch your channel, and this is no way to set an example. And first of all, every time I upload a video, YouTube asks me, is this video made for kids? Right. Yes or no? And every single time I say no. Okay. Yeah. So I can't control, I'm not going to make this an 18+ channel. That's not what this is. So,
right. But if you say it's yes for kids, then some weird stuff happens. I
have no idea, and I don't care, because I'm not making this stuff for kids. Right. This stuff is for adults. Right. So, but it's not like this isn't X-rated. This is just piano.
How about just deleting their comments? Is that an option?
Oh, I've done that too. But see, if you tell them that you're deleting the comments, that's another thing on my list here that I wanted to talk about, is deleting comments.
I knew it was. I was trying to segue.
Yeah, segue. Yeah. Deleting comments. See, here's the thing. Okay. The way I look at this, see, I can sympathize with them. Okay. They don't look, obviously, if you say something and somebody deletes it, like, that's obviously, you took the trouble to say something, you don't want to, it's obviously going to rub you the wrong way, to have your statement eradicated like that.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, it's like, the way I look at it, it's like they want to make this into a free speech issue. Okay, right. Which I want to make it into a free speech issue, and I think they're doing it wrong. Mm-hmm. Because the way I look at this is like, I'm hosting a party. Okay, all these people, you're all guests at my party.
Yeah.
Okay, the party's open to the public, but if you're going to be a jackass, then I'm sorry, you can't be in the party. It's like it's my job to make it fun for everybody.
You can get kicked out of a park or something if you're acting weird or acting annoying to other people. I mean,
right? Or like a restaurant or something. I mean, it's
I mean, your freedom only goes to the point where it impinges on somebody else's freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're going to annoy you, then delete them. I think.
Delete them.
Yeah,
right.
Delete them. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's the right approach. But
I don't know. I don't know what the right approach is. Yeah. But I noticed that I've been very reluctant to delete comments, because, first of all, I do believe in free speech. It's like one of the most important things for me. So I don't want to just start deleting things. But at the same time, it's like, you guys are wrong about how this works. Like, this is my video. Like, I made this video for my own purposes. I didn't make it for your purposes. So,
well, here's what happens though. So I have this Facebook group, and I have no rules in it. Basically, anybody can write anything they want, and I think that actually, I wonder if that actually killed that group. I wonder if I should have had some more rules. Maybe I should have said, I don't know what my rules would have been.
Well, it's nice to have a point of view, because if you have no point of view, then what happens is then the lack of a point of view becomes the point of view. And that is, some people like that point of view. I don't like that point of view personally. Yeah. Okay. Because that ends up being this inclusive thing.
Yeah.
Where it becomes all about making sure that nobody stands out above anybody else. And That to me is the maximum level of censorship when you end up with that kind of thing.
Oh, that nobody. What?
When if you say that this group is about inclusivity and everybody is allowed to talk, then what happens is anybody who doesn't look. I don't even want to explain it this way because it's not going to make sense.
Okay.
If you look at a lot of Facebook groups, like the groups about piano, like there's one group I don't think I'm in it anymore, the art of piano pedagogy, where it's right in the rules where it's like you can't I don't know, you can't
trash talk or something.
Can't trash talk. You have to respect everyone's opinions, and it's just what ends up happening in that kind of environment is that the people who whine the loudest, who complain the loudest, that they're offended, are the ones whose voices get heard because they're willing to go there. They're willing to use their offense as a weapon. I'm not willing to do that. That feels cheap to me. So I don't fit in those groups.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not even sure if they actually are offended. I think they're just.
I don't think they're offended. I think they love it. I think it's their whole reason for being.
Right.
So the thing is like, this is not censorship to delete comments. You have the right. And this is what I said in my thing. If you disagree with me, if you want to argue with me, the proper way to do this is to do exactly what I'm doing. Because see, I used to do what you're doing. I'm talking to them. I used to leave angry comments, sarcastic, snarky comments on posts that I disagreed with. I thought I was doing God's work. Okay.
Oh yeah, I used to do that too. I relate to it too.
Then I got to a point where I'm like, you know what? This is doing absolutely nothing. The way to change the world, the way to get hundreds of thousands, millions of people to see me and to take me seriously is to just actually put some skin in the game and create my own posts, and then I can express my own point of view. And that's what I do. And that's what I invite them to do. If they have a problem with what I'm saying, make your own video and you can talk about whatever problem you have with me. You can talk about how you think it should be played. It could be an academic scholarly thing. It could be you could just be trash talking Michael Corman. That's fine too. Like whatever, as long as
you can make a whole account trashing Michael Corman.
You could, as long as it's fine. You're not harassing me or defaming me or anything. Then you can express your opinions about how awful I am. I have no problem with that, and I encourage that. I have to free up space on my computer because I have it's running low, and I'm recording on my computer here, and I don't know what to do about that. It's this nonstop issue where I have this 2 terabyte hard drive here, but it keeps. Well, I don't know where it is. Like, where is it? It's in my backpack, which is on the other side of the room. So I don't know.
Maybe we should cut to a commercial.
We could do that. We could do that. I can also just delete files. I'm just going to delete some files.
That works too.
I don't care.
That works too.
About the files.
Do you have a sponsor?
There's no sponsor. So if anybody wants to sponsor this,
actually, I was thinking I've been drinking the 7-Up. Whatever
really?
7-Up wants is Diet 7-Up. So
have you been in touch with the 7-Up people?
No.
Oh.
Maybe I shouldn't be giving them free advertising. It is refreshing, though. It's a refreshing drink. I've had 2 of them since we've been talking.
Oh, I didn't realize it was so refreshing. That sounds awesome.
They're delicious. 7-Up is delicious.
Oh, wow. I'm really feeling thirsty right now.
I especially like Diet 7-Up because it doesn't have any sugar. I think it might have other terrible things.
I think I really need some 7-Up.
I know. Once I start thinking about 7-Up, I'm not happy until I drink one. So, do you like to have your 7-Up, your Diet 7-Up chilled, or do you just drink it at room temperature normally?
I honestly have. I don't think I've ever had Diet 7-Up.
Oh.
I've had Diet Sprite, and but
it's
now
disgusting.
that the way that you're talking about it, I think I might want to give 7-Up a try.
Yeah, Diet Sprite. Have you ever tasted like dog pee mixed with just water, kind of diluted? I have not. That's Diet Sprite.
That's Diet Sprite.
Yeah, so I would go with 7-Up if I were you.
Are we done talking about deleting comments? Is there anything interesting else to say there?
I don't think so. I don't think there's anything more interesting to say.
They should make their own videos. Why don't they do that? They don't think that that's the thing to do. They think, Michael, you need to be stopped just because this is, you have the right to say what you're saying, and likewise, we have the right to speak up against you. It's like, yeah, well, then why does YouTube give me the delete button next to your comment, and you don't have the delete button next to my video? Why is that?
Yeah, you can't just go and delete videos you don't like.
That's what you think you should be able to do.
Yeah.
If YouTube gives me the option to delete your comments, then you know what? I don't think it's wrong to use it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same way that like you said, if I own a bar, I can kick people out of the bar if they get too drunk. Yeah. It's time for them to go home.
But they don't see it that way. They don't see it. They're like, what do you mean? What do you want me to do? Just start my own bar? Just like, you know how much work it is to start a bar? It's like, yeah, I know how much work it is not to start a bar. I know how much work it is to make videos. Yes. Right. Like they're acting like I just woke up one day, and was angry and just like, I'm just going to make some videos and get a million views. It didn't work that way.
Oh, you've blown up on some of these platforms, but I mean, it took a while, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've paid your dues.
I think so.
You've earned the right to have your voice heard by millions.
I've earned it.
Yeah.
You know how many hundreds of videos I have that have like almost no views? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
They don't know that. I understand because they've never done it. I never knew that before I did it.
Yeah. I've heard other YouTubers talking that a lot. I've heard a lot of them say things like that. Like, for years they were shouting into the void.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I still shout into the void. I mean, I posted a couple of videos. Well, I got a couple of responses, but I posted a couple of videos last night, and they're not doing nearly as well as the one that we're discussing here. So, still trying to figure out how to get lots of views. It's not like it's just easy now. So I talked about mom jokes, deleting, they can make their own response videos. Oh yeah, the other thing is just American, right? Somebody's like, Michael, you're American. I can't stand how Americans think they can just rewrite whatever they want. They have such little respect for, okay, yeah, exactly. I'm American.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's much else to say about that. It's just.
What was, is that really an American thing?
I don't care. It is now. I'll make it an American thing.
Okay, fine.
I'm fine with it.
Fine. Americans suck.
America. See, the thing is, like in a real debate, when you resort to ad hominem attacks, when you start attacking your opponent's character,
you lost.
You lose. This is not. Yeah. Like
that's the end.
That's the end.
There's a name for that. There's like a name. Somebody named the first person to bring up Hitler or the first person to bring up the Holocaust.
Right.
Is the loser.
Yeah, you're the loser. Because that's what they do. You just like, well, you just escalate it. Well, you're Hitler.
Yeah.
It's like we can't top that. So
yeah,
there's a name for that. But it's so I don't know. Is there anything else to say? Have we covered everything here?
Well. What's the bigger issue? The bigger issue is it's not about the G sharp. I don't think it's about the G sharp. What's the? It's not about should it be a G or should it be sharp. I know it's a bigger question than that, but what is it? What's this all about? What are we doing?
What is this all about? Is like I have another list here of everything. We talked about what a mordant is. That's the ornament. Okay.
Right.
We talked about the manuscript, that we don't have a manuscript by Bach. We don't know what Bach wrote. We talked about the fact that, yes, I do have a master's degree. And no, I'm not going to prove it to you. Let me just say,
why not just take a picture of your actual master's degree and slap it up there? Why wouldn't you do that? Because
it's not going to fix the issue.
Yeah.
They're just going to find some, just going to pivot,
I think you're right.
This is called negotiating with terrorists, and it's not a good strategy.
Yeah.
You have to, at some point, you have to take a stand and say no.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm going to, let me be perfectly blunt.
Okay.
Even though I have a master's degree, I suck at piano. I'm not that good. When you compare me to other professionals, like, I'm not good for a professional, but I'm better than all the people who criticize me. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, lots of people that have a master's degree or a doctorate, kind of suck. I can.
I mean, the real issue is that they're envious of the exposure that I have.
Yeah.
That they think I have, which I don't know.
They think you don't deserve it. They need to
think I don't deserve it. That's the issue. We talked about, I'm not going to apologize for being bad at piano. I'm not going to apologize for, do I think that this was a mistake? Do I think it was a mistake to play that note? I don't know. I have a justification for it. Yeah. I can hear it two different ways. I don't care. It's like so stupid. It's so stupid they want to make this into the issue, into an issue. It's just, they don't like my personality. That's the issue.
What is it about your personality? They
don't like how I don't conform. Yeah. They don't like I don't respect. They don't like, what it really is that they're envious. They wish that they could, they want respect. They know they're not getting respect. They view respect as a limited commodity. There's a scarce resource. So when they see me getting respect, they're like, well, he doesn't deserve respect. I'm better than he is. Like, I'm playing by the rules better than he is. So therefore he is somehow stealing my respect. So then they're just looking for whatever justification they can find. Yeah. These people hate children. That's the other thing I wanted to talk about. They hate children because they keep calling me a child. It's like, at the end of the day, that's their Hitler, as they can say, Michael, you're acting like a child.
Yeah. I mean, is that supposed to be an insult?
In their world, it is. I posted something on Instagram. I was like, let me find it. I said, notice how many times the word childish has been used as an insult against me. These people hate children. That's because they deny their own basic human nature and have constructed an identity based on this denial. They pride themselves on being able to appear in control, even when it means disconnecting from their bodies and life force. And I'm sure it shows up in their piano playing too.
It probably shows up in the way that they parent their children if they're parents.
Yeah.
Because if you think children if you say you're childish, that's like a bad thing to be, then your children who actually are childish, like, you're going to be trying to like train that out of them all the time. And that's
This is called generational trauma. This
really?
Goes on, I guess. I don't know. It's been going on for thousands of years, and they're just passing it along. Come on, people, you got to break cycles.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
They hate anyone who loves music. They hate anyone who wants to play, wants to be playful. They call it playing the piano, not working the piano.
That's right. You don't work the piano. You work a room. Or
you work a room.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing with my mom jokes.
Right.
And here's the thing. You say, Michael, the mom jokes are immature. The mom jokes aren't perfectly nuanced. They're not the most sophisticated writing that you've come up with. Yeah, no kidding, because it's hard to come up with really funny stuff when you're under attack.
Well, that's the point of them. They're intentionally not sophisticated. That's why I think they're funny. Yeah.
It's just like, I'm just swatting at a mosquito. It's not.
Yeah.
Deleting comments, admitting I'm wrong. They say, come on, dude, just admit you're wrong. Come on, it's not that big a deal. Just admit it.
But then you admitted it, and that doesn't help either.
That doesn't help either. I tried it.
Yeah,
they used that against me too. I did try it. Towards the beginning, I was like, somebody's like, you played it wrong. I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. And they dug that comment up, and they're like, see, this is how duplicitous you're being.
So, Michael, what advice do you have for people so they don't end up in your situation?
Then you shouldn't ever try to, just get a job. Just get a regular job. Keep your head down. Just get a regular job.
Like a cubicle type job?
Cubicle type of job. Okay. Yeah, just have walls so nobody can see you.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, they're like, bro pins his own comment as if like, yeah, I'm pinning my own comment. Like, what?
Yeah.
In there, because the whole thing with them is that I'm being arrogant, I'm being egotistical, narcissistic, and like evidence of that is pinning a comment. So like, bro writes a whole essay on a short piano video. It's like, yes, bro is writing a whole essay. You got it. You get how this works. Because
bro.
I'm a creator. I'm a creator. I'm not a troll like you. Okay, I'm not a hater. I'm not a graffiti vandal the way that you are. Okay, I'm actually trying to build something here. You're trying to tear it down.
I mean, that's exactly what they're doing, isn't it?
We're not the same.
That's exactly what they're doing. They're like taking a can of spray paint and spraying it all over like a statue of,
Exactly.
a sculpture of Michelangelo or something like that.
And I'm like, if you
They're
don't
spraying
like
it on the Sistine Chapel.
You don't like the Sistine Chapel? Build your own Sistine Chapel the way you think it should go. What? Build my own Sistine Chapel? You know how much work that is? Yes, I know how much work that is.
Yeah.
And there's a reason that you see the Sistine Chapel in the art history books, and you don't see probably numerous attempts at vandalizing the Sistine Chapel that have been cleaned up. You don't see those in the art history books because they're not interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like deleting a comment, isn't it? If they tried to spray paint like "screw the Sistine Chapel" and they would clean that up, is that censorship? I guess it is.
I don't know what to say.
I don't know what I'm saying.
They say you're just doing it for views. Yes, I'm just doing it for views. Exactly. You understand how this works. I'm not just making these videos
for your health.
For my health. I just don't get it.
It wouldn't be good for your health anyway, probably. It's probably worse for your health.
It's worse for my health. I'm doing it for the views so that I can get the money.
Right. Okay? So that you can afford the expensive treatment
so
that you're going to need.
The therapy that I need to recover from you people.
That's why you should get a cubicle job. I think that's
exactly.
I think that's the conclusion here.
I don't see anything wrong with that. Yeah. So these people are crazy. It's like, Michael, are you being a troll? Like it's like, let's just talk about that for 2 seconds. Like troll. Okay. What's going on there? They say that I'm a troll. Yes, I'm a troll. Exactly. Like, see, there's in my opinion, there's two kinds of trolls.
Okay.
That's another Chris Rock bit. Like, there's the word troll is overused. It's ambiguous. There's overloaded. There's two types of trolls. It's like I consider myself a classical troll.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what's that?
I'm saying things that, yes, are going to provoke a reaction so that I can point out the idiocy and hypocrisy in in my opposition. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got these haters. They're just haters. They're vandals. They're just trying to tear things down. And they're called trolls, but they're not trolls.
Well, they don't even realize what they're doing. I wonder if that's the difference. Like, you might be more conscious of what you're trying to do.
It's not even about being conscious. It's about the actual thing. See, the word troll in internet history, it comes from this day, like, you're trolling for newbies. Like, on a forum, you would have, like, somebody would say something that you're trying to point out when is it that somebody is not a member of the group, is not an experienced member of the group, doesn't understand all the norms and the lore of the group.
When I was a kid, we used to do prank phone calls. Mm-hmm. So, like, that's kind of a certain type of trolling. That was before, like, the internet was big at all. Like, we would call up the pizza place or whatever and just order weird stuff, or
Yeah, but the question, like, well, why would you do that?
We're doing it to entertain ourselves. You know, like we would call and just, like, ask ridiculous questions. I'm not even sure if I can tell you some of the things that we said because it might be incriminating. But we're just messing with people, kind of just bothering people. I mean, I'm talking about, like, when we were, like, in elementary school and stuff like that.
So that doesn't sound like trolling to me, because like classical trolling is, you're not doing it to entertain yourself. You're doing it to protect the group. You're doing it to You're doing it to draw attention to the fact that somebody is an intruder, somebody is an outsider, somebody is being insincere.
See, I had not heard about this.
Yeah. I can't think of any, like, relatable example, but, like, if I say something like what I do, for example, like, I'll do things like in classical music, it's like the Bach Toccata and Fugue in D minor. Okay. If you were a classical musician, you would not call that a song. You would call it a piece. Okay. This is a very important distinction in classical music. They distinguish between song and piece, because a song is something that you sing. It's something that it has to have, you sing it with your voice.
Right.
Or, there could be there could be instrumental pieces that might be called songs because they sound like songs or they resemble songs in some way. But classical musicians are very particular about this distinction. In the general public, they're all called songs. Right?
It's the same. You just reminded me of a TikTok of a computer programmer, and he posts. I probably told you about this at some point, but he is always saying he has a bunch where he's like, HTML is my favorite programming language.
Exactly.
And then he gets all these responses about people arguing.
Right. See, that's trolling because you're trying to, like, when I say, like, so like, I love doing this in my comments. I'll call the Bach Toccata, I'll call it a song. I love doing it because it makes it pulls like right out of the tangled mess. Exactly who is it that is a stuck-up snob? Okay,
right.
And, like, I call it a snob, and they just raise their hands. Like I call it a song. Yeah, and it's like same thing with what you just said with what did you just say?
HTML is my favorite programming language.
See, programmers. Any programmer is going to say, well, HTML is not a programming language. And it just makes it clear, like, who's not paying attention to this conversation, who's not here, who's actually just has an axe to grind, you know?
Right. People get really heated. People get as heated as they do about this ornament, about that topic.
So I think these are my personal values. It's more important to me to point out that arrogance, hypocrisy, that exclusivity, that just that intellectual bullshit that's going on there. That's not important to me. What's important to me is piano playing, like what you actually do with your body when you sit down to play the piano. That's really important to me. And I want to talk about that stuff. And anybody who's like, yeah, Michael, I want to talk about piano too. But then they reveal themselves to be actually what I really want to do is prove how much I know about piano and prove how stupid everyone else is. Then it's like, no, you're not. This isn't the party for you. Right.
Well, I hope that you can. I hope that you can solve this problem.
Well, I don't see there being a problem here. It's just this is. I'm going to keep starting controversies. Going to keep trying to rock the boat. Keep trying to muddy the waters.
I guess when I say solve the problem, it's like I hope you can find the way to respond to these kinds of things.
You got to keep experimenting. You know, there's no way to respond. I'm going to just see whatever it is I get. I think it's about the views. That's what I'm after. I just want to be the Paris Hilton of piano. You know, I just want people just looking at me and just saying, "Wow, I don't want to be that guy, but I can't stop watching." Right.
You want to be the Howard Stern.
The Howard piano. Stern. The Amy's Baking Company.
I've heard you say that. What's the deal with that?
That's from Gordon Ramsay, Kitchen Nightmares.
Oh.
It's this, for anybody who hasn't seen the show Kitchen Nightmares, Gordon Ramsay's a chef. He goes around to these failing restaurants and he works with them for a week or so and tries to turn them around. And there was one of them, Amy's Baking Company. And their issue was that they had been besieged by these internet trolls who were just doing what they're doing to me. And they were really getting caught up in it. And the whole thing became about how angry they were and how rude they were being to the people who would come to their restaurant, probably to see them get angry. That's why they were showing up, and they were, and then then they were delivering. They were delivering, and then they end up on the internet, and everybody says, "See, look how awful this restaurant is," but then they didn't want to take any advice from Gordon Ramsay but this the whole show is about, and it's fascinating to me because it's exactly what I go through. But I don't. As much as you might say that it's horrible what they're doing to act that way, they're getting the views.
Right. I mean, it might just be. I don't know if it's on purpose that they're, but the end result is they're getting the views, they're getting the attention. So
yeah, why not?
So yeah,
it's a character.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty much everything I want to talk about. Unless
how can we wrap this up though?
Well, I don't know.
Like there seems to be. Is there a way to end this?
Like, do you want like a message like Jerry Springer
Yeah. All right. You want me to try it?
Yeah, you give it a try, and then maybe
Okay.
we could put our final words, and you do something, and I'll do something. I don't know if you want the last word. I don't know.
Or maybe we can both do it, and then you can decide how you want to arrange it.
Okay.
Okay. So at the end of the day, do you play the G sharp or the G natural? Well, who cares? That's what I say. Now, go fuck yourself. I don't know if you can use that. You got to edit that out.
Well, I don't know. The kids,
or maybe not.
It might be bad.
Yeah,
influence.
The kids.
I don't know. I'm already on thin ice.
You try. See if you can
Okay,
do
so
better.
my message is just going to be, just in case anybody doesn't know, my name is Michael. I'm here to ruin the piano world, and if you don't like it, make your own video.
Yeah, I mean, actually, they're kind of the same message, aren't they?
Same message, exactly.
Same message, yeah.
Just go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And we'll have it there twice.
Yeah.
Okay, so David, thank you for having this conversation. And
thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I think I've been on at least once before. So
I think we have maybe even twice before.
Yeah, so I consider myself now a regular on
regular
your podcast.
Guest.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
I've got to record 5 other podcasts later today, so I probably.
So I don't want to take all your time, your valuable doctoral level time here.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm happy to give back.